He talked about how one should yadha viniyatam chittam atmanyeva avatisthate. One should have a discipline to control one's mind, and having controlled, the mind should come to this situation. What is that situation? Yadha, he's giving an analogy. The mind should be mind is supposed to be like a yadha deepaha. Deepa means a lamp. Just like a lamp, not an ordinary lamp, a lamp in a nivatasthaha. Vata means wind. Nivata means a windless, nivatasthaha, windless place. Yadha deepaha nivatasthaha. Just like a lamp in a windless place, na ingate. Na ingate. Na ingate means it does not waver. Sa upama. So taking that as an example, compared to that, sa upama smruta. Yoginaha yata chittasya, a yogi's controlled mind, because of engaged yunjato yogam atmanaha, engaged in the meditation on atmanaha, on transcendence or Krishna, will also be like that. So Prabhupada translates this as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. So, the importance of controlling the mind, disciplining the mind. So, one might ask, oh, it is easy to have the lamp unwavering in a windless place, isn't it? You light the lamp. If there is no wind, it's inside the room, protected. The lamp will be steady. There is no wavering. But how can we, how can our situation be compared to that? We are always surrounded by so many winds in terms of agitation, constantly being, constantly hitting us. So, how can we remain unagitated like the windless place? So, there was this king who had a prince, and this prince was depicted as the next heir to the kingdom. Very powerful, very smart, and he would attack any opponents, and he would he would engage in negotiations. Very smart. But one day he comes back from hunting, and he is a changed man. He starts to behave differently. He starts to take the side of those who oppose the king, and the king, to the extent that the king becomes very upset. Why is my son talking like this? Earlier he was supporting me so much. Now it seems as if he wants my downfall and he wants to take my kingdom as soon as possible. So he summons his minister. What to do about it? And so the minister, he does the investigation and finds out that when this prince went for hunting, the people who accompanied him tell him that he met one nice, beautiful girl, and so after that, we don't know what happened. And then the minister, upon inquiry, finds out that this girl is not an ordinary girl. She does black magic. And so the magic has been done on this boy, and therefore he acts under the influence of her, who is the agent of the neighboring kingdom. And then the minister immediately administers in the sleep. a kavacha so that that wards off the magic. And then the prince becomes all right. And then the minister tells him, what all happened. And then the king breathes a sigh of relief. And then they find the enemy and capture and all of that. So, why I told you this story is because just like this, the king is like Krishna. We are supposed to serve Krishna to the best of our ability. We are happy being children of Krishna, and Krishna empowers us if we serve his mission. But we are constantly, in the course of our activities, we encounter this Maya, the attractive Maya. And Maya can brainwash us, can do black magic on us, making us forget who we are, why we are here, why we have to serve Krishna. And therefore, we rebel. We go against the instructions of Krishna and scriptures. And then the minister is like the spiritual master who provides that kavacha of his instructions. The instructions of the spiritual master act like the kavacha against Maya, by which one can overcome the influence of Maya. The spiritual master says you have to chant the holy name of the Lord, you have to read his books, you have to serve Krishna. So that acts as the kavacha against the Maya. So, this lamp example that I was bringing up, yes, there will be wind, but if you observe, there is this lanterns that we used to have in our childhood when there was frequent electricity cuts. The generation has changed. Practically, probably there is no electricity cut unless you are in remote parts of villages. So, the lamp inside that lantern remains protected from the wind outside with the glass wall. So, that glass wall is considered to be the protection offered by the instructions of the spiritual master. So, as long as we remain protected or we remain in the association of the spiritual master and his instructions, in the association of the holy name, that acts like the glass ceiling or glass cover, which can protect our mind. And of course, we are not as strong. There will be always, the glass is not properly fixed. So there will always leakages. So there is a process to make sure that the glass is fixed properly. So the mind, until that process is attained, mind should be treated very carefully. So sometimes I say the mind should be treated like our children, our kid. So if you have kids, you have this experience. So you want the kid to go to school. Oh, they are sleepy and don't want to get up, don't want to go to school. As responsible parents, we don't just leave them, isn't it? We force the child to get up, take shower, teach discipline, have breakfast, plan everything, do homework, isn't it? Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say, the mind should be punished both in the morning and in the evening so that it can come to control. One should beat the mind with shoes in the morning 100 times, and before going to bed, one should beat the mind with broomstick 100 times so that it remains controlled and act according to your wish. So, of course, we don't beat our children, but the mind should be treated like our child, how we control our child and discipline our child. But why we treat our children with discipline, we enforce discipline on our children, but why we don't treat our mind? Very strange, isn't it? We want the child to become nice and saintly and good culture, disciplined, like Prahlad. But we don't control our mind. We let our mind be uncontrolled. So we are okay to be Hiranyakashipu, but we want the child to be like Prahlad. The child asks candies, unlimited candies, but we say no, control. Unlimited screen time, no control. Then why don't we control our mind to not eat nan prasadam? Nan prasadam is like the candy. We are not controlling. Of course, I'm not talking about those who are controlling, but I'm generally saying the mind, how it acts and how we are dealing with it. So we are not even our own well wisher. We are the well wisher of our children, but what about our mind? We are letting it go uncontrolled. So truly, we are not acting as our well wisher. That is why it is said Krishna is the true well wisher. Suhrudam sarva bhutanam. Krishna only knows what is right for us. When Krishna does something to us, we think, oh, why Krishna is letting this happen to me? The child might sometimes think, oh, why my dad and mom are so mean, so controlling. But the child might think like that, but the father and mother are the true well wishers. So Krishna, out of his kindness, might have some things done to us out of his kindness because we have taken his shelter. He's our best well wisher. The mind wants all sense gratificatory things and pleasures. So we have to regulate, taking Krishna's instructions. So the next time the mind is uncontrolled, think of it as a kid. How we want the kid to send to the best school, international school, best faculty, best association. But of course, many times we are limited by money. You compromise and send to the next best or next best, whatever is our capacity. Similarly, don't we want the mind to also get the best school, best faculty, best everything? And here is the best thing. For putting the kid in the school, we might be limited by our money. But in this case, we are not limited by the money. We have the money. That is our free will. The money to control the mind is our free will. That's all. Everything is there. Best school, Srila Prabhupada's institution is there. Best books are there. His books are there. Best teachers, his disciples are there. Vaishnavas are there. Everything. So even though we have money, we are not using. So it is said that in order to start towards this control of the mind, the best way is association of devotees. Always put yourself in the association of devotees. Don't stay isolated for a long time. Somehow or the other, stay in touch with devotees. In Krishna book, we see one chapter. One devotee, when Krishna asked, What are the what do you want from me? Ask any boon, benediction. So he asks three things from Krishna. Of course, he asks unconditional love to Krishna, and in order to get that, he asks association of his pure devotees. And then the third thing he asks is mercy on the jivas, the living entities. So, association is very important, as showcased by these benedictions sought by great devotees. So, Prabhupada was once asked, so we say about Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Sarva Shastra, all Shastras are saying Sadhu Sangha. You associate with devotee. Lavamatra, even a little bit, Lavamatra means a fraction of a second. If you get the association of a sadhu, a fraction of a second, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. It gives all fortune. So, Srila Prabhupada was once asked by a disciple, so why, even though a devotee gets a lot of sadhu sangha, he doesn't get pure immediately? So, Srila Prabhupada gave a beautiful example. So, he said, we are like a piece of wood, and the sadhu sangha from the pure devotee is like the fire. The fire is the fire. Then the quality of the fire is it gives warmth, heat, light. The fire is always powerful. There is no compromise in that. But when we associate with the fire, we get that warmth, and that wood becomes dry and eventually catches fire. But if we keep that wood wet, on one side we are trying to associate with the fire, the other side we are pouring water by engaging in Maya, then how can we become pure? Because that means our free will, we want to remain in Maya. At the same time, we want to become pure. So we are not purely, sincerely endeavoring. But still, even though you are pouring water, if you remain in touch with the fire, eventually that warmth will take effect. So, the name of Krishna, the association of devotees, they all take effect. Krishna's name is like Chintamani. Chintamani means touchstone. Touchstone is, of course, we don't have experience of that, but the Shastra says Chintamani stone means anything you touch with it, like iron, you touch with it. Iron becomes gold. So there was one person who comes to this guru and he starts to cry. And the guru asks, why you are crying? He says, oh, I'm now I used to be a very rich man. I lost all the money. I'm so poor now. And I heard that you give benedictions. You have some stone. Somebody told that you keep and you don't value it so much, even though it is Chintamani. And so the guru gives, okay, I just trashed it there, you take it. So he takes it. He now thinks, oh, I have this iron machinery. So he had this huge industry where he has a lot of iron machines. So now I'll take this Chintamani and I will touch this to all these machines and then it'll become gold. So he goes to the factory and drops it in one of this machine, and then it remains iron. It doesn't become gold. And then he's become so morose. He says, "No, this is guru. This guru is bogus." And then he starts to. I mean, he again goes back to his moroseness and all of that. And one fine day, the guru visits him and asks, "How is it going?" And then he starts to complain that Chintamani is not working. What have you given? And then Guru says, "No, it cannot be." And then they go and see. He sees that the Chintamani stone is dropped into that machine, but it is stuck in that spider web, cobweb. And so it has not even gone and touched that machinery. So how can it become gold? So Krishna's name is like Chintamani, but if we have the spider web in our heart, which is trash in our heart, if we are covering ourselves with a layer of dirt, or while chanting, we are not hearing the name. The name is being chanted, Chintamani is being produced, but it is not touching our consciousness. So, how can it turn it into gold? So, chanting is very important. Jiva Goswami gives two important instructions for progress in devotional service. One is perfect chanting, and the second is perfect dealings or behavior. Both are interdependent. Our inattentive chanting is because of bad dealings or association or behavior. And inattentive chanting causes this kind of side effects because we are not focusing on chanting. So both are dependent. But still, namani eva haranti agham. It will cure. If you continue chanting, you should not stop. Oh, because I am not chanting attentively, I'll stop. No. Nama paradha yuktanam namani eva haranti agham. The aparadha of nama, especially the inattentiveness, it will go away, but you have to endeavor to chant sincerely. You should not stop. Like Kulashekar Acharya, we should take the inspiration from these acharyas, how they are tasting the nectar of the holy name. Sarasija nayane sashankha chakre murabhidima viramasva chittarantum sukataram aparam na jatu jane haricharana smaranamrutena tulyam. So he says, O mind, please never stop taking pleasure in thinking of Krishna and his holy names. There is nothing I know that gives extreme pleasure as meditating on Lord Hari's lotus feet. So, in this way, he prays so many ways how people Sudham Parityajya Visham Pibanti Namani Narayana Gocharani Tyaktvanyavacha Kuhakaha Patanti. So, people, this Sudham means this nectar. Chanting of holy name is nectar. People give it up and Visham Pibanti, they drink poison of sense gratification, leaving out these names Namani Narayana Gocharani, Tyaktva Anyavachaha Kuhakaha Patanti. They take to the other subject matters. So Kulashekar Acharya, he used to be a king. So as a king, he had access to many worldly pleasures. But he says they all count as nothing compared to the Nama of the Lord Krishna, compared to the meditation on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And the best thing is it is available for everyone. It is like unlike modern courses. They give, you go to YouTube, you get an advertisement. They allure you with a small snippet. But if you want to get the whole thing, then they reveal, oh, you have to go to this website or subscribe or whatever. You have to pay. But Krishna's name is free. The highest pleasure to be had, the elixir for everything. Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Niramayam means the elixir, the medicine for all problems. But unfortunately, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laments, putting himself as a conditioned soul, Etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrisham iha janina anuragaha. See my misfortune. Durdaivam iha ajanin anuragaha. Na anuragaha jani. I'm not able to get that anuraga, that attachment and taste for chanting the holy names. So one should value the holy name, the spiritual master's instructions, the books, the association of devotees. And whatever vow we have taken, we have to protect that time for chanting. And whatever vow we have to take the vows to commit to serving the spiritual master certain amount of time every day, reading the books, chanting the holy names. And when we act to protect that time and pay attention to all these things, and Krishna protects us from Maya and makes us progress. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Sadhar Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nectarian class again. I have a question regarding Sadhu Sangha that you mentioned today, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha. So sometimes, what does it actually mean? I had a question because there will be so many people and you will be in the corner of a room somewhere sitting and you might not even be noticed or anything. So is that also still considered Sadhu Sangha, or do we need to have a direct interaction with the great devotee?
Yeah, not necessary to have direct interaction, physical interaction. Even the mere presence, the hearing of the words, the vibration, that is also considered sadhu sangha. Bodhayantaha parasparam. There are two kinds of association Prabhupada mentions: Vapu seva and Vani seva. Vapu means body, physical body. You can serve physically by supplying water or prasadam or even massaging or whatever. Vapu seva. Vani seva means, say somebody is, serving the meal to a senior devotee, and oh, they got such an opportunity for close association. But even better than that is, oh, the senior devotee says, okay, this is something that needs to be done for Krishna's service. And so you go and do it. Then you are associating through that instruction. The blessing is there. So like that, Prabhupada also said, I'm always taking association from my spiritual master through Vani Seva by serving his instructions. Then the blessing is there. So yeah, it need not be the physical aspect. It can just be the vibration. Even though you may not be even in the physical presence, just by hearing the vibration, you are in association.
So reading his books is also Sadhu Sangha then?
Yes, of course.
And how about if a non-devotee or not even having any idea of any of these comes in contact with just sitting there um, and not even listening?
Yeah,
Um,
that is also. The Like one time, Prabhupada, he was walking and he would greet many people while walking. And one time there was this man who was a drunkard. He was going along, I think on his bicycle or something, walking along, and he was, with his drinking bottle. He was, he would see these devotees and he would say, Haribol, whatever, wish, hey, how are you doing, like that. And then he left, he opened his bottle like this, and Prabhupada took up his cane. So just like you do a cheers, right? Hey, cheers, like that. He took up his cane and did like that. And that man went away. And then Prabhupada told his disciples, his devotional service has begun. Just by merely that slightest contact of a pure devotee. There are many such pastimes, incidents in scriptures as well as during Prabhupada's life, that merely by his presence, by seeing him, by associating with him, eventually they became devotees. So this is called Agnata Sukruti. They may not know it, but it is acting.
So in a house, if I'm listening to a class and then if some of the family members are not at all interested in this Krishna consciousness, but then they just roam around in the house, but still they inattentively they might hear this katha. So even then they will get this Agnata Sukriti that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. That is
But they
a
are not interested in this though.
yeah, that's okay. Still, the sound, the vibration is making a difference. They may not know it, but it is all going to their credit.
Okay. Sorry, Prabhuji, for asking so many questions every day.
No,
Thank
no,
you for it.
no, 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 no. It's very good. We need somebody like you. On some people may not be free at this time to ask questions. They may be doing other things, and sometimes they may be shy also. So they will think you as their representative. I'm sure.
And sorry for asking so stupid questions too.
No, no, no. These are all very good, very important questions. I encourage you to ask.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for asking, for answering all the questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari.